So what were the first steps that you took, right, once you started implementing, and what were the results of that? Because now you're making about, was it 35K a month?
Yeah.
So we need to fill that gap. So tell us about that gap, right? So how did you go from 10K a month, right, when we first started to 35K?
What you got me to understand was I need to treat myself like a client. And it's just like a little bit because the same, what is it, preach and everything I'm giving them so they can be successful. I got to do that for my own business so I can be successful. And but yeah, pretty much I already had one client and somebody on their team saw the work we was putting out and they was like, man, I would love it if you just did that for us. I'm like, oh, okay, what do you want to do? We already Do you want us to just put that on top of the normal stuff we want to do? And they was like, no, we just want to double down and we'll give you some more money. And it's just, and that's wow. And I'm thinking like, man, I'm thinking, dang, they only gonna give us this little bit forever. So that's the main reason. Also, I was thinking about switching. I said I need more, what is it, tactics to gain more clients. And that's like another reason why I hopped on the community with you, because it was just like I felt like that was what I needed. But that one tactic of making more content and making more just for myself, just doing it for myself, that made my client see more in me and they were like, oh, let's double down. And that went from like a 10K, like 30K, 35K real quick.
So tell me this, what would be your biggest advice to someone who's thinking about joining the Authority Creators community, right? Who is struggling and not sure about if they could actually benefit from it? What would be your advice to them?
To them would be, if you saw the video and you felt like it resonated with you, then do it. It's just honestly, just do it. It's like when you see anything, if you see some food on a picture or you see a food on an Instagram post, you're gonna go find that food if it's local to your area eventually. So it's just more so I would say just do it. Go with that gut feeling. It's probably your gut feeling is normally the right feeling. So I would say just go ahead and hop on it, because even thinking you're so far ahead that you can't learn one thing that'll help change your whole entire business, that's crazy. And that's just crazy to me, because I said it didn't matter. I didn't know how much it was gonna cost. I didn't know what it was gonna be like. I just said I feel like it's something I need to learn right here. And I learned way more than one thing. Like I learned way more than 5 or 10 things. So it's just more. I think that's the beauty of it. Like you just don't underestimate it, and because you shouldn't be underestimating no one. Like just don't underestimate it. If you feel something for it, and it's a good feeling, go with it. Just go with it off rip.
Darius, my guy, what is going on?
Julian, what up, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, blessed, highly favored over here, thinking about if I should become a Jedi or not because of you.
Sith Lord to the death of me. Hey, Sith Lord to the death.
Yeah, so can you introduce yourself to the audience?
So y'all, my name is Darius Hill. I go by twin from time to time because I do got an identical twin brother, and I do film content creation and everything that deals with a camera on the front and the back end. Honestly,
Me and Darius started working together, I say like a few months ago, and you were working with primarily with like politicians and government agencies, which I've never worked with clients before who work with those types of people. It's usually like they work with small businesses, real estate, some people even do weddings, right? And at the time, like you're making 10K a month, right? But you had one client paying you that, which is risky, but it actually ended up even that you ended up getting more from them too. So can you tell us about that situation and how that actually occurred?
just getting the client or just
Yeah, so first initially getting that client and then also talk about like how you're working with that client now and how you got to that point.
just getting the client. It was just more so just trying to just networking. I always tell everybody, I said, when you go outside, be nice to people. And because somebody gonna mention your name. And I got that client just by somebody mentioning my name. One of my friends said, hey, you should talk to this guy. He runs a content creation agency. And they called me. Turns out they needed more than what I thought. and they paid me more than what I thought. And it was just like, and that's how that whole relationship started. And it just grew and it just kept growing. And they always needed somebody that was in the political space, nonprofit organization in the political space.
Nice. So you're working with them, they're paying you like 10,000 a month. But what were you struggling with at the time that made you want to work with me? Because 10,000 a month is a good place to be. So why were you making that and then said, "Hey, I still see that Julian can help me because I'm struggling in this area."
I think it's more just trying to, what you spoke to was my pain points. And I was trying to figure out more about ads and marketing. And I was trying to figure out more about just structure. Or it's like when you build your own structures, I always say everybody making their own handbook, but that don't mean you 100% sure about it. And sometimes I want to be in more spaces where more people are sure about their handbook so I can be sure about mine. And then when I heard you talking on the gram one day, I saw one of your ads and I was like, this dude sounds like it's just I don't know what resonated, but it was just like, and I see a bunch of ads all the time, but it was just like you was already hitting my pain points, and it just seemed this guy is the guy. I don't know if it was my spirit, divine intervention, whatever it is, but it just seemed right. And I said, let me just talk to him and then see if I'm still sold. Because I was sold. Like I went and looked at a lot of your videos. You had a lot of videos on your YouTube. And I was just like, man, I'm watching his stuff. Like I'm watching all your stuff. And I went through it in a day. And I just was like, man, this dude sound like the one. Like it sounds like everything he talking about is what I need to hear or hear more about, because I always say whatever people put on YouTube, it's a more in-depth version sometimes. And I said, I want to go down I said, even if it ain't more, I would rather go down the rabbit hole and realize that was it versus not going and always wondering. And it's just so that's what I did. And I just said, let me just jump and see if it's gonna work out. And it's been working out.
Dope, man. Because I remember you told me that you were actually taking notes just from the YouTube videos, which is
Right,
something that you don't even usually do, right? So
right.
it
I
was
got
it was hidden in all the right points.
Right. I literally this notebook. I literally have had this notebook for a minute for some reason. And I said, one day I'm gonna write some stuff in this. And but I don't write notes no more. I type everything and for some reason that notebook was sitting on my coffee table waiting on me. And I just started writing it. And I just was like, I want to write this stuff down because I know I need to retain I felt like I needed to retain everything you were saying and or the structure of it. And so I can just hear it back for myself in my head. Cause and then that's what happened. Like the moment I like if I go back through a bunch of these pages, it's literally the title of each line is from one of your YouTube videos. And it's
Wow.
like, and just going through, okay, here's how what is it? I think you said it was like how to start so how you added 10K a month. And literally I was putting your name by every time June was. And it's just like just trying to, I think one of your videos make 30,000 a month. And I was like, for sure, that's what I'm trying to do. And I just remember writing down all these notes verbatim. And it's crazy, like understanding like you could get AI to watch the video for you and you can get all those notes, but it's the exercise and the rep of just writing it all down and taking what you want from it. But I feel like I was taking everything. I feel like I was the AI that day and I was just taking everything, and I just kept watching stuff, bro.
Bro. So that was just from the YouTube. That was the free stuff. Then
Right.
we hopped on a call, and like you said, you were already sold. So then you
Right.
got into the actual community in the course, and tell me about your thoughts of that. Because I remember right away, you're like, bro, this is
I thought it was cool. Like I had heard about school, but I never went down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what it was. And then I just never went down. And I knew people was making communities on it, but I just thought it was like Discord for gaming or something like that, or for businesses. I thought it was Discord for businesses. And it's just like and and it really wasn't. It was really a little more than what I thought it was. It was like seeing that you had the courses up there to go through and knock those down. And then you still had community people talking about their wins. I think the first thing I noticed was the wins category. I went straight to that. All right, let me see if people really winning in here. And seeing people getting wins is just like 1K, 2K, 3K. That inspired me. It's just like Yeah, I'm making 10K, but shoot, who doesn't need an extra $1,000? It's like a damn iPad costs more than that. So it's just like it was cool to just see people talking about if those are baby wins in my head, baby wins is still good. And it's just, but just even looking more into the comments and the structure of what people are saying, oh, this helped me do this helped me do this. And it's taking me down another rabbit hole of, oh, let me go back to the course then, because I ain't even started the course. And that's what I did. And I just was like going through the courses, going through the courses. And I think one thing you kept saying was it was something you were just talking about speed. I don't know what you were saying, but as verbatim, but you were just saying
Success, love, speed.
success love speed. It was basically hurry the hell up and get this shit done. Like you need to take this course for sure, but hurry up and get it done. So every day I'm waking up. Like I'm waking up. I literally I don't know what I normally was doing then. I might watch 2 or 3 hours of TV. No, I had stopped that. I was working. I was on the course. I was ingesting that knowledge fast because the quicker I get that, the quicker I can put up a win, the quicker I can translate it into my agency, the quicker I can figure it out and feel more sure about the foundation I'm standing on. And I think that's more so as a business owner, you want to be sure about your foundation that you build it. And it's just because you can build something up and you're not sure about it. You're not 100% sure. And I think you're not even 50% sure sometimes. And I just want to be 50% either 100% more sure that everything I'm building is right and is firm. And I felt like going through the courses, yes, it was some stuff that I knew, but it was some stuff that I needed. What is it called? Like a refresher course on.
Hmm.
It was just like it worked. I think it was just like everything in there from the video. Like I had all the video gear. So when I got to the video gear, he was like, "Oh, you need a teleprompter. I got it. It's in the living room. Tripod, got it. It's in the camera. I got like 6 of those." I'm like, "Cool." So it's that still feel good too. Oh, I can skip this course. I'm skipping grades now. High achieving, and it's just but it makes you feel good because you like you on the right path. You already got everything. So yes, but still hearing you saying here's how you gonna use these items is great. And because that made me understand, like, dang, maybe I should start. Like, this was a teleprompter I kept in my office for my clients, and now I need to really use this for me. And it's just so now I'm like, oh, let me bring it home because I already got my office set up at the house, and just did that, man. It just kept going. Like everything you were saying was leading up to doing something bigger.
So the
Right.
fact that you invested into the program forced you to actually implement,
Right.
because you can go on YouTube and Google and find a bunch of information, but that's not going to incentivize you to actually do the work. It needs to pinch a little bit. And you also need someone to keep you accountable. So what were the first steps that you took, right, once you started implementing, and what were the results of that? Because now you're making about, was it 35K a month?
Yeah.
So we need to fill that gap. So tell us about that gap, right? So how did you go from 10K a month, right, when we first started to 35K, right? What steps did you take to get to that point, and how did you get that gap? Like who is paying the rest of that for you?
Pretty much this like putting down more content. Like I filled that gap by like putting out more content. And because I don't put out content, let's just say my version of traditionally, let's just say I don't want to say annually, it's like seasonally, like it's a holiday every season. So I'm putting out content. And it's just, but I think you was talking about more quantity. You was like, you need to put out quantity and quality. You was like, and that's something I say a lot. Like I say it to my clients, but I never looked at myself as being a client. I looked at myself as just being a facilitator of the service. And it's just, but I think what you got me to understand was I need to treat myself like a client. And it's just like a little bit because the same, what is it, preach and everything I'm giving them so they can be successful. I got to do that for my own business so I can be successful. And but yeah, pretty much I already had one client and somebody on their team saw the work we was putting out and they was like, man, I would love it if you just did that for us. I'm like, oh, okay. What do you want to do? You're already do you want us to just put that on top of the normal stuff we want to do? And they was like, no, we just want to double down and we'll give you some more money. And it's just, and that's wow. And I'm thinking like, man, I'm thinking, dang, they only gonna give us this little bit forever. So that's the main reason. Also, I was thinking about switching. I said I need more, what is it, tactics to gain more clients. And that's like another reason why I hopped on the community with you because it was just like I felt like that was what I needed. But that one tactic of making more content and making more just for myself, just doing it for myself, that made my client see more in me, and they were like, "Oh, let's double down." And that went from like a 10K, like 30K, 35K real quick. And it's just because they wanted those sidebar commercials and those sidebar, because these are things that's outside of the regular retainer. And it's just, oh, can we get this? And can we get this? Oh, can you do more stuff like this? We need more short videos like this. The same thing you just put out, we need that. And I'm like, dang. So I'm really making, I've always said we make a menu, but I've actually never made a menu. And to make the menu for what my client wants, they got to see me doing it, ingesting it, seeing it. Like they don't have to see it working well for me to want it. And I thought that was great too, because I'm like, people like I might have 2,000 followers and stuff, but it's not like all 2,000 of them is liking my stuff. But for my client, they can easily see what I'm doing and be like, that's gonna transition well on my page. So that's what they want. And
Yeah.
I'm like, great. And I think that just worked out for me because, yeah, you pretty much teed up the play of me. What is it? Like being aggressive about what I'm putting out or being more conscious about what I'm putting out. And that's what I did. And it worked. Like it worked. And I'm seeing more leads, not just from the client I got, but other clients and other random people who, even if I don't want to work with them, it's just more of the lead generation just came from me being more active in the social space and content creation for me.
Yeah, that's really the key. It's like you have to lead by example, right?
Right.
And you have to get high on your own supply, right? And
Thank you.
that's literally the same thing that happened for me, right? So I was into like real estate, photography, and videography. Then I started making content educating. And all of my real estate clients saw that. And they're like, hey, do this for me too. So I was able to upgrade my current clients, right? Because I started to show up and they see the value in it because they see other people around the world doing content like that. They see the value. They just didn't know anyone that could do it for them. So even just reaching out to your current database, upgrading your current clients, right? That's a sure way not to leave money on the table because they already you and trust you, right? You already do good work for them. So it's just about showing up. And the fact that you just showed up, you made a few videos that they didn't even know you could do that style, right? Because you never really posted it, right? You're probably just posting mostly portfolio, or like you said, I'd be like holiday, you would do something, but it wasn't like intentionally giving value, right? Then they saw that it resonated, and you went from having a $10,000 client to a $35,000 client, which I still think you need to diversify because I know it's the season for politics, right? So right now it's like, okay, they're into it. Once the season's over, you don't know. So I still think we need to work on diversifying. But the fact is that you're making a lot more than you were because of just one simple tweak. And that tweak was putting yourself out there, being consistent, and giving value.
For sure. I think that's really what it was. Like the consistency is the key. I say that with all my clients. I'm like, consistency is key. But what you gave me was just a value, like understanding that every gym you get, I might give these gyms like on a whim. Like I'm just out here talking, like showing my expertise when I'm talking to the client. But that's what you need to be putting on the internet. Like literally stop. It's not that you can't talk about it to the client when you with them, but talk about it on the internet because that draws them in more. And it's just, and I'm like, wow. I was like, it's basically the same thing. It translated so well. Like I thought it was gonna be hard. I think it's just more so the average just sell tactic. I think that's something you really gave me too, just like how to sell a little better, or how to just come up with a solid script of here's what you need to do. Like, or
Let's talk about that more. Go a little deeper into that. What do you mean exactly?
just how do I explain? Just more so like when you're forming that script, it's just like speaking to that pain point, like that pain point. Not, I think I was talking to it, but I never knew what it was. I never knew the what is it, the science behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you understand the science behind it, it's a little more like you grab it a little better. It's just, and now you talk like that, and that's the thing. Like I now know, oh, I can speak to somebody pain point and close them, like and close them instantly. It's like I'm more confident. It's just more so like that. Like just even me writing out my script helps me always have a script now in my head. So if I'm just talking to somebody verbally, I can sell them. And it's just and it makes me more of a, I like to think of it as a threat. Like when I walk in the room, because it's just more, is I'm in here and I'm like, bro, it's anybody in here I can sell content to. I've always felt like that, but it's more so I felt like all businesses need content, and but you still got to sell them a little bit. You still got to explain. You got to talk to their pain point. You got to explain your value, and then you can sell them.
Yep.
And that's it. And I think I got that from you, just knowing like that should be the structure. I think it's more so I didn't have that. I know I didn't have that prior to March. I think I had a way of, let me just show them my work. I think everybody do that. They think the work gonna speak for themselves. And sometimes they do. I'm not gonna lie. But sometimes you have to speak over that work. And a lot of people don't like talking. And I'm like, but I have no problem talking. I have no problem talking. I think it's just more so like, how should I talk, or how should I direct this conversation? And I think that's a good thing. You like we've learned in the community, just take charge of that conversation. Like always have charge of that conversation. Always have control of your meetings, because it's just that gets you further too. Because it like it assures them like these people are in control. Like the moment you come, and
Yeah.
just don't let that director title go to your head as a leadership, because I know it might have did for me. Is, oh, I'm a director, I'm automatically the leader. But it's just you gotta be a director. Like the moment you get on the sales call, you gotta be that leadership. Like you gotta get on there. Like the
Yeah.
moment content, you gotta do that. You gotta exude that. And I think the confidence the school and the community gave me was just like just exuding that more often.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So I have a few parts I want to touch on with the content, the scripting, right? That
Yeah.
allows you to pre-sell. It's like you're pre-selling and you're selling them without actually having to be salesy, right?
Right.
Because you're hitting and touching on their pain points, which builds credibility and trust, right?
Right.
That's why you binge my content, because I was hitting pain points, right? And the longer you spent time with me, the more you trusted me and the more credible I became. So if you're watching like a 10-minute video from me and it's like, oh shit, this is fire, let me watch the next one. Oh shit, this is fire. Let me watch the next one. So then I have so much credibility and trust built within you because I was able to pre-sell without selling. And the way you do that is, number one, you have to solve pain and lead to pleasure. You have to solve pain, understand that they're in pain, and you have to lead them to pleasure. How do you lead them to pleasure? Through actually giving value. Because there's and there's so much content out there that people won't take action anyways unless they pay for the implementation. So it's okay to give everything away. So a lot of people will be afraid to give everything away, thinking that people will just like not use them, right? But when you do that, it's very value, and then people also feel like they owe you, right? It's wow, if this is the free stuff, imagine what the paid stuff is. And then also, like you said, you writing those scripts and becoming more comfortable with your messaging allows you to internalize it and be able to present it better in real life situations. So when you're talking to clients, you're believing in it more. You speak with more confidence, also because you're actually doing it. So,
Yep.
like traditionally, a lot of video production companies would talk like they understood marketing, but they would never do it themselves, which led to feeling like an imposter versus you actually getting your hands dirty and you doing it and then you seeing what comes from it. So the fact that you made content, you took time with the scripts, you addressed pain, and then you saw the results of that. Now you're like, oh, this actually works. I believe in it now.
Right.
Right. So now you can talk about it with that ultimate belief.
That's it. That's really the gist. I used to be one of them companies. I did. It's like I knew it'll work, but it's just it's like knowing, oh, what's the better way of saying it? It's like knowing a Tesla is a decent car, and you ain't, but it's telling everybody a Tesla is a decent car, but you ain't never sat in a Tesla. And it's just so but when you finally sit in the Tesla, you can be like, oh, this really is a decent car. But but now you can talk about it a little more firm and be like, man, the seats is really leather and it's really vibrating. It's like the seats is heated. It's a computer in the front. You can watch YouTube. It's basically a spaceship. Like you're selling it a lot more, like in depth, and it's just like it almost exudes excitement because it's like when we are seeing the same movie. Did you see the Avengers? Yeah, bro, that last scene. But versus telling somebody to go watch Avengers just because you've seen, Avengers is a great movie. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I think that's a lot of people, that's a lot of video production companies, and that's fine. I think it's just, but people, you like, if you want to see that next level, you definitely need to be in the thick of, I would say, be in the trench. If you ain't in the trench with them, where are
You have to experience it. Because even like with a Tesla, right?
you?
I always wanted a Tesla X, and I always talked about it like it was the coolest car in the world. And then
Right,
I actually drove it, and I was like, this is cool, but these doors are not practical. So,
right,
so I had to experience it myself, right?
right,
So that allowed me to know the ins and outs, right? Because even when you're testing stuff, then you start to get more context, right? Then you can
right.
be like, oh, okay, this isn't actually what I thought. Maybe I'll try this way instead.
It-
And then but you can only do that through actually doing the work. And then you start to develop your own style, figure out exactly what you want. Because for example, for me, I always tell people like, hey, you should implement a good ad strategy, maybe even social media for clients, right? Because I think that's a good way to reduce churn because you're doing a lot of work for them. But then some people might try that and be like, I actually don't want to do that. I don't think you offer that at all. Yeah, you just offer the content, but that's okay.
yeah.
That's okay. So you still have to like try things out to see what works for you and what you're the best.
But now I want to. I think it's just now that I'm more comfortable with it, it's just I do want to offer it. It's just more, it's maybe we offered it and I had a guy on my team, one guy on my team who knew about it. And but even then, I still felt it was more to be known, and that's all it was. It's just maybe he knew about it at a surface level, but there's always more techniques to learn. It's just
Well, I'll tell you, bro, you figure out ads for your
yeah,
clients.
right,
K a month will turn into 50K a month with the same clients.
right,
Now you can actually guarantee an ROI. So I can't force anyone to do that. It's, hey, here's all the things you can offer. But I will say that the highest leverage thing to offer is a paid ad strategy because you can guarantee that they can reach their audience. So if it comes down to voters, you can guarantee that you can put them in front of people
right,
that can convert rather than just relying on organic. Because after a while, if people aren't seeing the traction and return that they want from organic,
right.
then they may churn because it was all fun, everything looked good, really good quality, but at the end of the day, they didn't make a dollar back or they didn't get anything in return. So the simplest way is really just to guarantee that by creating virtual billboards, which is paid ads, right? And just putting it in front of the right people. That's the only way you can actually guarantee rather than trying to beat the algorithm with all these crazy hooks going viral, following trends, right? Like you see these trends now, people are using like viral clips of people like falling and stuff. And
Yeah,
then I'm not about to do that. I'm
right.
sure that can give me some clicks, but I'd much rather just stay real, stay authentic, and just advertise.
That's what separates you. I think that's it. That's what separates you from being a well-known brand and being an influencer. And it's just because influencers follow the trend, brands set them. And then that's the way I look at it. Like you gotta just be in front of it. And I think that's what this has taught me a lot. Just stay in front of, just stay in front, set the trend, just set it, and then the influencers will take it and run with it. But it's just more, but that's what you want, and that's what I sell to any brand and company or politician, anybody just comes up to me now. I'm telling them, look, just do this, don't do is that, just do this, start your own, innovate, and it's a lot easier sell because once it's yours.
That's right. So tell me this, what would be your biggest advice to someone who's thinking about joining the authority creators community, right? Who is struggling and not sure about if they could actually benefit from it? What would be your advice to them?
To them would be, if you saw the video and you felt like it resonated with you, then do it. It's just honestly, just do it. It's like when you see anything, if you see some food on a picture or you see a food on an Instagram post, you're gonna go find that food if it's local to your area eventually. So it's just more so I would say just do it. Go with that gut feeling. It's probably your gut feeling is normally the right feeling. So I would say just go ahead and hop on it because even thinking you're so far ahead that you can't learn one thing that'll help change your whole entire business, that's crazy. And it's just that's just crazy to me because I said it didn't matter. I didn't know how much it was gonna cost. I didn't know what it was gonna be like. I just said I feel like it's something I need to learn right here. And I learned way more than one thing. Like I learned way more than 5 or 10 things. So it's just more. I think that's the beauty of it. Like you just don't underestimate it, and because you shouldn't be underestimating no one. Like just don't underestimate it. If you feel something for it, and it's a good feeling, go with it. Just go with it off rip.
I like that. And what would you say is like the number one thing that you've learned? What's like your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway: there's strength in the community. There's a super strength in community. It's so much easier to get on school and see everybody succeeding or everybody at a standstill. Because even you as a coach will be like, we've gotten on Zoom calls and it was just me and you. And then we've gotten on Zoom calls and everybody was on there. And it was just like, but it's just more so, how do I explain it? It's good to see. It's just like everybody working, everybody got something they doing, or everybody might be confused and we all need a little bit more direction. And I think that's a great thing. I think even when we started doing the sales calls, I think a lot of people veered away from them because they scared of selling, or it's because you make everybody do the role play. And I'll be like, I said, oh yeah, y'all scared of the selling and the role play. I get it. I get it. It's horrible. It's horrible, but because Anas be on it, and it just is it Anas? That's his name. Yeah, Anas be on it, but it's still a great thing because the client. I've been in meetings, bro, and my hands start shaking. I've been in meetings and your throat get dry. If you don't know what anxiety is, that's anxiety. Like that's what it is, and it's just I like it. I've been in big meetings, and I wish I had some role play before hand. But even just being in the role play, and y'all don't call on me sometimes, it's still better to be there than not be there. And then, of course, you put it on there. You put the Zoom recordings on, and that's great. But to be there in the moment and everybody asking questions, there's no dumb questions. There are only like smart answers given. And I love that. I love everybody giving out smart answers, everybody hyping each other up, everybody is taking and learning from each other. And that community is just great. Like if it was just 3 people, I would be happy. But it's more than 3 people. It's way more than 3 people. So I think community is the biggest takeaway from me. And the ads too. Like the ads is a great takeaway. Like me being confident of just knowing what's gonna work, how to work it, and just knowing, like, yeah, you could have watched a YouTube video and found out this and all this, but the problem with the YouTube is you're not 1,000% sure it's working for other people. Like you're not. Like you can watch somebody do it in the comments, but the moment you one comment that has, I didn't understand this, it already makes you feel like it didn't work. This ain't gonna
Yeah.
work. One person will make you feel like it don't work. So I would rather be somewhere where I know it's a community of people. This stuff has already been curated and everybody else has been using the same method. And then it works, because if the method ever stopped working, I will hope the community figures it out and then we figure out how to get back on track. And that's a lot easier than going on YouTube, searching, hoping this is right, just so you can, I don't know, save some money or cut corners or whatever you
Yeah.
want to do. Like, just pay for the sure thing. Don't pay for the halfway mark.
Yeah, it's all about that collective intelligence. And
Yeah.
then also like the 4 minute mile, right? It was people thought it was impossible to beat that. And then one guy did it, and then it started getting beat by a bunch of other people, right? So the cool thing about community is that it's proof. You see someone doing well with the same information that you have, then it lets you know, oh, I can actually do this. Just that proximity, like you say, even if it's like you say, even if it was 3 people, which that's still good too, but the fact there is more, and then you can see some days people will have actual shoots going on, right? So it's actually good too. People are working. It's not like everyone don't got nothing to do. So
Right.
something show up to every call. If it's a low attendance, I know people are working. If it's high attendance, I know, okay, people, they need some additional help. But yeah, that just reminded me, next call, I got to get you on that role play because it does make a huge difference. It's you can only grow through being uncomfortable. And it's like I would much rather have you guys uncomfortable with me than uncomfortable in a real situation. Right. So it's like needed practice. Like Steph Curry doesn't just show up to the games without putting up 1,000 shots first, right? So it's like you need to have those reps in order to be super efficient and super sharp when you're actually in a real situation with money on the line.
I would say the bigger your team get, the more you're gonna realize you responsible not just for yourself, other people. And it's just like my team is getting bigger, and I'm like, I can't go in a room and be nervous. Like I can't because it's not just me on the line. Like I always say, I'll be fine, but knowing that other people depend on me to pay their checks. And it's just that's where we're all going. Like we all want to be business entrepreneurs and we all want businesses to run, but that means you're going to be responsible for more people and they're dependent on you to do your job so they can come and do their job. So I think part of doing your job is knowing how to at least sell. And it's just because you still the face and the brand of the company. And if you can't sell it, how you gonna ask somebody else to?
Exactly. So what's next, Darius? What is the next goal that you would like to hit?
Financially or just overall?
Both.
Financially, I already know I'm gonna make. I've already made. I'm gonna be real. I already made 100K this year, so I've already hit six figures, and I'm geek. I made that before half the year mark, and but I think for me is I just want to expand my team and know like everybody on my team is if not all the way straight or let's say anywhere between 50 to 100% straight. That's a better way of saying that. I want them to be like independent contractors. I want them to know, no, Monday through Friday, you have a job.
The way to do that is we got to make more money
That's it.
because that's not cheap.
That's
So
not cheap.
we
And
got
I
to
know
make more money, reach more people. So essentially, I think you're going to have to start scaling at an uncomfortable rate, right? Because right now, I think you're doing it at a comfortable rate where you have these projects that you're working on, and then but I think you have to start onboarding clients at an uncomfortable rate, start marketing at an uncomfortable rate, so that you can have money to hire people and have them full time, right? So I think that's next for you, and we'll talk about that after because I want to help you get to that next step too.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's really the next big thing because it's just like that. I think because you can't do it all yourself. You really can't, and
Exactly.
it's cool to have people who you like working with. So it's just that's dope.
Nice. Thank you for doing this interview. Seeing your growth has been incredible, going from that 10K to 35K mark with just the same. I love how it was just with the same client, right? The
Right.
fact that you're able to show them what you were doing, not even knowing that they were going to be interested in that, to them being like, "Oh, snap, I want to do this too." That's incredible because that's literally like my transition. Like I had a few clients that led to that, but I went from having my real estate clients. Okay, now I have a content agency. In the first week, I had 10K a month in contract, all from previous clients. So I
Right.
want more people to do that. A lot of people are afraid to reach out to their current database or try to upsell their current clients. But if
Right.
they already trust you, you don't, then you're leaving money on the table if you don't at least attempt it. But
Right.
you can only do it by leading by example. So you have to show them the way.
That's really what you got to do. Really. In front of set your own standard. I think that's what it is. Set your own standard that you want, like that you want them to be at. And because I would say the client always got more money. Don't ever think they ain't got more money. It's just, but you got to give them a reason to spend it. So,
Exactly. Well, cool. Thank you, Darius. I'll talk to you soon.